We have been talking about this all evening on the show. We're very excited because the Kings of Leon, well, Jared and Caleb from the band are on the show. Guys, nice to hear your voices. How are you?
Doing great.
Fantastic.
I've got to tell you, as a fan, it feels good to be on the receiving end of some new music. But as a band, does that novelty, does that excitement of releasing new music ever wane?
No, I mean, I think you always have the same amount of excitement. I think perhaps I'm not sitting on the edge of my bed watching the charts to see if it's going to be competing with the TikTok songs, but you still have that excitement of something that you've worked hard on, you created, you're putting it out there into the world, and you hope that it does some good and makes people happy and builds your fan base a little bit.
I think just as a music fan, when I got wind that there was some new music from Kings of Leon, I was just happy to hear some new music that had like great songwriting and great playing, and it just sounds great on the radio. This is a new EP. For me, it's a collection of songs that doesn't sound like it would be out of place on some of your earlier albums. Was that a sort of conscious effort to go back to that earlier sound, or is that just part of this sort of natural evolution in your songwriting, in your being a band?
I don't think we ever talked about like making musically taking the songs back to the older days, but I feel like the way the songs kind of came about, there was like a little bit of rawness and excitement to it, and so the songwriting was a little closer to the early days. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that we didn't have a producer in the room, we didn't have a record label kind of looking over our shoulders to see what we were working on. And so we kind of went back to our roots and just wrote songs that made us tap our toes and talked about subject matter that we found interesting. But yeah, I could see it being on a lot of our earlier stuff.
You talk about this album being a self-produced record, which I think is the first time you've ever done that. And I'm sort of fascinated by the role of a producer, particularly with a band that has your kind of back catalogue. Does that mean then that the writing and the recording of this EP was more of a closed book, the band working pretty much just as a band behind closed doors and, doing exactly what you wanted to do because, well, you knew how you wanted this collection to sound rather than someone trying to steer the sound?
I'd say that's exactly right.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have our little studio is it's kind of a small little space, and when we go in there, it's just us and our friend who plays in the band with us, and our sound guy, and that's it. And we never really, we never kind of stray away from that dynamic in the room. So it is just us, and just kind of spitballing and seeing what we think can make a song more exciting to us, or make a song kind of fall into fall into the vibe that the or the emotion that the
Mm.
lyric is kind of giving you. But yeah, man, it's just we have an open door. If anyone wants to come in and be a part of it, but for the most part, it's just us in there.
And how do you? I mean, a lot of us just do like the classic nine to. A lot of people listening this evening who do the sort of classic 9 to 5 day job. How did Kings of Leon write and record? Do you do the sort of 9 to 5 thing? Do you work sort of office hours, or are you up like the Stones at 3 a.m. writing and recording? But maybe the Stones
Yeah,
don't
we
do that in their at this age now.
we're like a lazy 9 to 5. We do like 10 to 2,
Yeah.
basically. So we go in there at 10, and we worked really, when it's just us, we work very, very quickly. So Caleb would come in, and we would basically have like a click track just to keep timing, and Caleb would play his guitar and sing vocals, and then we would all just write on that. And it came together super, super quickly in several days. He would come in, we would hear something for the very first time, and the song would be pretty much done by like 2 p.m. So, in about 4 hours, we would just get the song done. And I think that not having a producer never got in our way, but you can use them as a crutch.
Mm.
Like you can kind of use them to take the songs to a place that you don't feel confident doing yourself. And so this kind of just forced us to do it ourselves, and the songs get interpreted in completely different ways. And so, yeah, working quickly, just running across a tightrope, not second guessing, not, trying to be positive about it, not negative, and don't compare yourself to other things. And it just worked really quickly, and it worked out great in our opinions.
I'm a little obsessed with Nashville, despite the fact that I have never been. It is on my list of places that I want to go because I'm a music fan, right? And, for me, I'm not a particularly religious person, but that would be a pilgrimage for me to go to Nashville because music, from what I am told, is everywhere. So why is it so conducive to making great music, Nashville?
I mean, I think just Tennessee
Yeah.
in general is such a musical state. You know, in the mountains we have bluegrass. In Memphis we have the blues, country and western, obviously in Nashville. But really, I feel like a through line. You saying you're not very religious. I think a through line is gospel music. I feel like a lot of us grew up on gospel music or grew up in churches, and it's not necessarily the music itself. It's the it kind of pushes you into music.
Mm.
You know, you don't really when you're young, you go out there and you play the drums and you're not really, you're just kind of doing your part or you sing in the choir, but throughout all of that, I feel like a lot of people have a musical side to them. Almost everyone I know, their parents sang or played or
Yeah.
something. So for us, Christmas time, it was all of us sitting around singing songs, and um, so I think just the state of Tennessee is a very musical state, and I truly, this might be a bit of a stretch, but I think the entire world owes the state of Tennessee um, a lot of love and flowers because
Hell yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
Nashville, Memphis, in times when uh, America was struggling with certain things and politically and race and all these things, Tennessee was always a welcome home for musicians and for people to come and try it and see what happens. And I feel like the state of Tennessee, as a native, I'm just very proud of to say that that is part of our rich history.
And I think in this sort of current climate where everyone is so divided, what is the thing that music does? Music is the thing that brings everyone together, really, regardless of genre, regardless of the type or style, or whether you're a band or a singer or whatever. That's why I love music. It brings people together. So actually, when I say I'm not particularly religious, maybe I am because that's my religion.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Um,
that's great. That's a good one.
I'm going to use that. You put out a song a couple of months ago with Zach Bryan, and I thought that was a great piece of music. Country music has exploded over here in the UK with the likes of, Zach and Luke Combs and Morgan Wallen. And I think the reason for that is I was talking to a mate of mine the other day, and I think the reason, and see whether you agree, I want to see if Kings of Leon agree with my theory. It's because the art of songwriting has become trendy again, or for want of a better phrase, trendy again. Like songwriting matters again, which is crazy because we now have AI and all the sort of competition that brings. Actually, the craft of what you guys do and what bands like Kings of Leon do, writing songs has never been more important.
Yeah. I feel like with music, there's definitely a pendulum, and it kind of goes back and forth. And songwriting and storytelling becomes very popular, and then it maybe becomes over popularized and it gets too much, and then it'll swing back towards the abstract. And you have artists who you don't really follow a story, it's just about the music and the song, and the lyrics will paint a picture that's not necessarily clear. And it swings back and forth. And right now, 100%, we're in a storyteller revival. I feel like that songs that mean something and that people can follow along and you can relate to are the most popular songs right now. And that's a lot with country music, and even with people like Taylor Swift, who kind of like writes stories, and so that becoming the most popular thing. People want to attach themselves to that kind of world.
And also, I've got four teenagers, and what I love about them discovering music is they're discovering music. They are like, my son's just got into John Fogerty. Like, John Fogerty's a brand new artist, and he's got no idea that John's 80 years old, and those songs are brand new to my son. And I love that, because actually, that is one of the benefits of streaming. And one of the questions I wanted to ask you is, what have you been listening to other than doing your job and creating this EP and whatever is to follow? Fingers crossed there'll be more down the not too distant horizon. What have you been listening to inspire Kings of Leon of late? Stuff that you could put on our radar that you like, either stuff we already know about or artists that maybe we don't know about.
2025's had it's very hard, you know this, with kids to stay current with music. I mean, a lot of time, like I'll put on something and immediately I've got an 18-month coming up to me saying baby yark, baby yark, and I've got to put on baby shark because she hears music and that's what she wants. So it does kind of, it gets interrupted a lot. But 2025 has had some great stuff. These guys from Oklahoma called Broncho have come out with an album. I'm just looking through my 2025 playlist. Twin Shadow had a good one. Yeah, Chastity Belt has a great song out right now. But I try to stay in tune with the new music just because I feel like it's important for an artist to do that. But it is a lot of K-pop demon.
If you've got an 18-month-old, you're in that phase. Which for a while, going back, for me, quite some time, I was in the Moana and Frozen soundtrack, like car journeys, where that would just be played over and over again. And thank goodness the UK is a lot smaller than America, because the car journey in the UK is only a few hours. In America, that's weeks and weeks. But actually talking about going back, Only by the Night for me is an album that will always remind me of my life before kids, seeing you guys at festivals, being able to handle 3 days in a field, and now like one late night and I'm broken. It was the album that really just reminds me of my life before kids, right? What was an album that reminds you of your youth?
Oh, wow. Of my youth. I mean, I feel like I was born in 82. So really it was the 90s that I feel like I was kind of taking in pop culture. And when you think about the 90s, it was so like from 1990 to 1999, like all of the different genres that came and went. It was from grunge to boy bands to pop to hip hop to all these things. And so it's hard for me to kind of put a finger on stuff. I do remember the first time I heard Pearl Jam.
Oh,
I was 14, and my buddy who played on my basketball team, he had his driver's license, so we would do donuts in the parking lot, listening to Pearl Jam, and that was something that it just made me feel this energy that I wasn't used to.
well, there was that great stat of those. There was like a real short period of time in 1991 where, in the space of about 10 weeks, like those albums just came out. Like there was Pearl Jam's album, there was Appetite, there was Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, there was Nevermind. It was just like one after the, and somehow I had them all, despite having no money when I was a kid. I had all of those albums, and I don't know why. Now I've got more money, and I don't have anywhere near as good a record collection. It was a good time. And then the crazy thing was, it was quite cool to like those records and then to be singing along to NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye. That was kind of my life back then, and it was okay.
Oh yeah, see, we had like Pearl Jam, which I could listen to with my basketball team, and I was a cool guy. But then if I was trying to hold hands with a girl, I always had Boys to Men.
Oh,
So I could sing that, and I could listen to Pearl Jam with the fellas. So it was a great era where you could kind of dip your toe into a lot of different music.
I can't step off a stool these days without wanting to do a key change. Like all those bands, bands did back in the day. Hey, one final question to ask you: New Year's Eve in Vegas with the Kings of Leon. How the hell is that going to go down?
It's a concert that lends itself to 2009 Kings of Leon really, really well. But I think it's going to be great. The concert's going to be fun. I think you love a situation where everybody's there to have a good time, and you know that, and you go in with a positive energy. Nobody's going to that concert thinking, God, like I've got work tomorrow. I don't want to be here. It's Everybody's there knowing you're going to let your hair down. You're going to have fun. And we might stay up till like 11, maybe 11:30.
You crazy cats.
I mean, we're still gonna do the countdown.
It's literally got everything you need. It's got New Year's Eve, it's got Vegas, it's got the Kings of Leon, and then finally, I guess, UK dates. When are you coming back? I talked about my sort of life 2008, whether it was the V Festival or whether it was going to Tea in the Park or seeing you in Hyde Park. I've seen you so many times, and I want to see you again. And as I know our listeners do, are there plans to return to the UK?
Yeah. We have
we'll be back there next summer.
Yeah, I think July 4th and July 6th we have 2 UK dates, Manchester and Leeds, right? I believe that's right.
I hope you're allowed to say that, although there'll be someone in the background going, "Oh my God!" No.
Well,
I think you're allowed to say
live?
It's fine. I think you're allowed to say that. It's cool.
Yeah. Well, there may be more dates by then too. But yeah, we're just, while we're home, we're making a lot of music and we're putting it out, and we can't wait to get on the road and see what people think.
Amazing. And
if we were not supposed to say that, they should have told us, and they should know that we're idiots. So that's their fault.
And when are we going to get not EP number 2, but like the next album? Is that also? I mean, like obviously you've put this EP out, and Two Spaces is the song that we're going to play in a second. But I'm guessing you're going through quite a prolific period at the moment, so there are more songs that will turn into an album, and that's coming down the line.
Yeah, I think you can probably expect an album from us early next year.
Amazing. It's so nice to speak to you, and I look forward to seeing you back in the UK. And thank you for coming on the show, Jared and Caleb from the Kings of Leon. It's lovely to speak to you.